In order to simplify those motions that we have discussed in one of the previous lessons, such as closing square bracket f to move to the beginning of the next function, or closing square brackets s to move to the beginning of the next statement, and vice versa, to move to the beginning of the previous function we can press opening square bracket f. So to simplify such movements we can define a couple more mappings in our configuration file. Let's do so right now. I'm going to paste the following chunk of code to the bottom of my configuration file. And what it basically does is it defines a couple of mappings specifically for 3 modes in Vim, such as normal, visual, and operator pending mode. And what those mappings will allow us to do is basically to repeat motions forward and backward. So instead of always pressing closing square bracket f to move to the beginning of the next function, we could just use single quote in my case. And to move in an opposite direction, we can use comma. So now we only have to press certain keyboard shortcut to activate motion in a particular direction. And then to repeat previous motion, we can just use single quote or comma. As a reminder, we also have to restart vscode after each modification of this init.lua configuration file. And now let's see how it works. So first of all, I'm going to press particular keyboard shortcut to activate motion, for example, closing square bracket f to move to the beginning of the next function. And after this, in order to go to the next function, I only have to press single quote instead of constantly pressing closing square bracket f. And this approach is going to work with all those motions that we have previously discussed. We just have to press particular keyboard shortcut which corresponds to a certain motion only once, and then to repeat this motion to move forward or backward, we can use single quote or comma to repeatedly trigger this motion. Alright, now let's go back to the configuration file and focus on the look ahead option that we have previously set to true. And what this option does is it allows us to leave the cursor in any place in the code instead of always putting it on the particular object. For example, if I need to select the next function, I don't have to firstly move my cursor on top of this function. So instead, I can just press VAF right away, even though if currently my cursor is located before that function. But this is still going to work. In the next function, we'll receive selection. Let's say we have to select the body of the next function. To do so, I don't have to position my cursor on top of the body of this function. I can just press VIF while having my cursor before that function, and right away the body of the next function will be selected. So now let's summarize what we have done in this series. Let's start from the beginning. First of all, we have installed Lazy Package Manager by using the following chunk of code. And down here we have used this package manager to install additional plugins, particularly Neovim Treesitter Text Objects, which provide us with additional motions and text objects. Then within this config function we have added several mappings, which allow us to move around the source code and apply modifications to different elements in a source code. And finally we have added a couple more lines with a few mappings. And those mappings are intended to simplify motions backward and forward. Instead of using the same keyboard shortcut to move forward or backward, we could just use keyboard shortcut only once, and then to repeat that same shortcut we could just use single quote to move forward or comma to move backward. And that's about it for this series. Link to the repository with the final init.lua configuration file will be in the video description.